Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Joe Tophat. Many years ago, I reviewed all the major Wallace and Gromit projects. And I never thought there would be another one because after the passing of Peter Sallis, the voice of Wallace, there seemed to be a lack of interest from aardman to make any more adventures of these two characters. That is until last year was the premiere of their new movie, Vengeance Most Fowl. So without further ado, let's begin. Unlike previous shows, this movie starts with a callback to a previous Wallace and Gromit adventure. We see Feathers McGraw from the Wrong Trousers get arrested and sentenced to spend time in the zoo. Some fans have complained about the fact that aardman brought back Feathers McGraw for this movie. I was never against the idea of him coming back, since Feathers McGraw was easily the best villain Wallace and Gromit ever faced. I know previous productions had them face different villains, and there's really no real continuity to these shows. But sometimes it's kind of nice to see these old characters come back in these shorts. Or movie in this case. As long as the story is good, what's the problem? Wallace, now voiced by Ben Whitehead, has grown more dependent on his inventions to do everything. He can't even pet Gromit on the head without using a machine. Poor Gromit. The things he must put up with. Wallace has noticed that Gromit spends a lot of time gardening, so he decided to create a smart gnome named Norbot. Norbot can do all Gromit's gardening for him. Gromit isn't a fan, but Norbot has caught the attention of Wallace's neighbors, who think Norbot is a great invention. In fact, they want to hire Norbot to do their gardening chores. I love how Gromit and the neighbors have a different perspective on Norbot. Gromit loves to garden, so he doesn't see gardening as a chore. To him, Norbot is taking away his hobby. The neighbors, on the other hand, most likely view gardening as a chore and are more than happy to have Norbot do it for them. They also most likely have busy lives and don't have time to do these things. This is a small detail, but I thought it was funny how even though Norbot was made for Gromit, Wallace built him to be voice activated, even though Gromit can't talk. Although he means well, this shows that Wallace really doesn't know what's best for Gromit. And even though it's made for him, he doesn't really think about the fact that Gromit can't talk. So Norbot would be useless to him. Nice metaphor. PC Macintosh from Curse of the Were-Rabbit is getting ready to retire. It's established that he was the cop who took back the blue diamond from the Wrong Trousers. He personally locked up the blue diamond in the museum's vault. Macintosh's last assignment before retiring is to handle security as the blue diamond goes back on display at the museum. There's a new cop named Mukherjee who will be taking over. I really enjoy her interactions with Macintosh. They have some of the funniest moments in the movie. My favorite moment was when Macintosh was talking about the copper's gut on how to solve crime, and Mukherjee accidentally says, "Yeah, I can see you got it," implying that he has a big gut. And she just kind of stands awkwardly like, I didn't mean it like that. It's moments like this that really make this movie. Honestly, if they decide to make a spin-off series on these two, I would totally watch it. Feathers McGraw sees Wallace's commercial for his gnome improvement business. I love these puns. Feathers decides to hack into Norbot and have him set to evil. Wait. Norbot has an evil setting? What were you thinking, Wallace? Evil Norbot takes it upon himself to make even more Norbots. Wallace doesn't see the problem with his invention, making more robots without being told. The Norbots go around stealing from the neighbors as they are doing their gardening chores. Mukherjee is able to trace all the crimes back to Wallace. Macintosh and the neighbors are convinced that Wallace is guilty, though Mukherjee's gut tells her that isn't so. The police take all Wallace's inventions away as evidence, and Wallace comes to realize how dependent he's become on technology. At the museum ceremony, Macintosh reaches in the bag to bring out the blue diamond, only it turns out to be a turnip. Yup. He never bothered to check that the blue diamond was inside the bag before locking it up. This moment is actually pretty realistic. We've all had moments like this happen to us. Okay, so maybe none of us have been guilty of locking up a blue diamond without making sure it isn't really a turnip. The point I'm trying to make is that all of us have, at one point or another, assumed something to be true without bothering to check that it is. Though I admit that this is a pretty big screw-up on Macintosh's part. It turns out that Feathers McGraw had switched the blue diamond for the turnip while Wallace was calling the police. The blue diamond is in fact in Wallace's old teapot that he hasn't used in years. In other words, all this could have been avoided had Wallace used that old teapot instead of relying on technology to make his tea. A great chase between Wallace and Gromit and Feathers McGraw ensures. Our heroes are able to get back the blue diamond, clear Wallace's name, and reset all the Norbots back to good. Feathers McGraw escapes though, leading to a possible future adventure with him. The movie ends with Mukherjee taking over the precinct, Macintosh retiring to his boat, Gromit embracing the Norbots, and Wallace learning that some things are best done the old-fashioned way, like patting Gromit on the head. Vengeance Most Foul is another fun adventure with Wallace and Gromit. It was fun seeing old characters like Feathers McGraw and PC Macintosh come back. Over-relying on technology is a great theme for Wallace and Gromit to tackle. The Norbots are pretty funny, and I love how they kept the door open for Feathers McGraw to return. Ben Whitehead is a worthy replacement of Peter Sallis. I know he's been voicing Wallace in video games and commercials for years, but this is the first time he's voiced the character in a major project, and he did a great job. I also love the fact that this movie doesn't include another love interest for Wallace. Since A Close Shave, it seemed like all the major productions had to give Wallace a love interest, and I'm glad this one didn't go that route. Vengeance Most Foul showed that there's still life for this old franchise. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.